Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a guided tour of a really crucial part of Pakistan's industrial engine, the automotive assembler sector on the Pakistan Stock Exchange. Let's get into it. All right, let's just jump right in with a number, 11. What do you think that number means when we're talking about Pakistan's massive auto industry? Well, that's it. 11 is the number of publicly traded companies that make up this whole sector. And we're talking about the companies that assemble everything, from the cars you see on the street to the big trucks moving goods across the country, all the way to the tractors that are, the backbone of our agriculture. It's a huge driver for the entire economy. So for the next part of our tour, let's actually meet these 11 players. We're going to map out the entire landscape so you know who's who. Okay, here it is. This is the whole roster. Think of this as our map for the day. It's got all 11 companies we're about to talk about. We're going to start with the names you probably recognize, and then work our way through the different parts of the industry. First up, the big ones, the names you see on the roads every single day. We're talking about the big three in passenger cars. Indus Motor Company, that's INDU, who assembled Toyotas. Then you've got Honda Atlas Cars, or HCAR, and of course, you can't miss them, POC Suzuki, which is PSMC. Okay, from personal cars, let's shift gears to the heavy lifters. These are the commercial giants, the ones building the trucks and buses that are literally the backbone of our logistics. This space is really dominated by HINO Motors. But you've also got Gandhara Industries. They assemble SAZEW and Gandhara Automobiles, which handles brands like Renault trucks. And just to give you an idea of how big a player we're talking about here, check out this number. Roughly 70%. Yeah, that's the kind of market share HINO Motors, HINO, has in the truck and bus category. That's not just big, that is a massive, massive footprint. All right, from the roads to the fields, the auto sector also powers the country's entire agricultural backbone. And here we're looking at two key players. Al-Ghazi Tractors, or AGTL, they assemble the New Holland tractors, and Millet Tractors, MTL. Both of these are absolutely essential for mechanizing our farms. Next up, we've got the undisputed king of a huge, huge market segment, personal transport on two wheels. Atlas Honda, ATLH. They are, without a doubt, the dominant force when it comes to motorcycles. And to round out our tour of all the players, let's talk about an innovator. SAZEW Engineering Works, that's SAZEW. What makes them so unique? Well, they became Pakistan's very first licensed manufacturer of electric three-wheelers. Kind of feels like a sign of things to come, doesn't it? Okay, so now that we've met all the players, let's kind of shift gears and take a step back. Think of this as the scenic overlook on our tour. This is where we ask the big question. Why should an investor even care about this sector? What's the potential upside here? So what is the investment appeal? To answer that, we really need to break down the sector's core strengths. First off, you've got these incredibly powerful, long-term things driving demand. I mean, think about it. Pakistan is urbanizing fast, right? Our agriculture is getting more and more mechanized, and the transport sector itself is just constantly growing. All of that creates a fundamental, consistent need for more vehicles. It just keeps the engine running, so to speak. And it's not just about that core demand. The sector has other real strengths. For one, these companies have solid partnerships with global auto giants. They're also diversified across different kinds of vehicles. Plus, a lot of them have a history of paying out stable dividends, and they often get a nice boost from government policies that encourage local production. But hey, every scenic tour has a few warning signs on the road, right? No investment is a sure thing, so let's be real and look at the potential hazards for the auto sector. And this first one is a classic two-sided coin. On one side, those global partnerships are a massive opportunity, right? You get access to world-class brands, top-tier parts, but flip that coin over, importing all those parts makes these companies really vulnerable to currency fluctuations. If the rupee weakens, their costs go way up. It's pretty much the same story when you look at government policy. On the one hand, if you get favorable policies that encourage local production, that can be a huge boost. But on the other hand, unpredictable changes to auto tariffs or taxes can just suddenly squeeze your margins and really mess with your profitability. It's a real double-edged sword. And then, of course, there are the bigger market headwinds to think about. This sector is what we call cyclical, meaning it's super sensitive to economic slowdowns. When times get tough and the economy tightens, what's the first thing people do? They hold off on buying that new car. And on top of that, you've got the looming threat of new competition, especially with the whole world shifting towards EVs. So we've seen the landscape, we've looked at the upside, and we've talked about the risks. Let's head to our final stop on this tour and see what this all means for the road ahead. So if we had to boil this whole tour down to one core idea, what would it be? It's this. The PSX auto assembler sector is truly a cornerstone of Pakistan's industrial economy. You've got these 11 companies, they're assembling a huge range of vehicles, and they're backed by this cool mix of local ingenuity and powerful global brands. And a key takeaway from all the source material really sums up the investor's point of view. Look, this sector is promising, for sure, but you absolutely have to keep a close eye on both the individual company details, their fundamentals, and what's happening in the broader market. And that brings our guided tour to a close. But it leaves us with one last really crucial question to chew on. As all these new challengers and game-changing EV technologies start to emerge, is the road ahead for these 11 legacy players going to be a smooth ride or a really turbulent one? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.